Today's video is sponsored by the online learning community, Skillshare. Hey, today we are talking about the Rode VideoMic Go 2, Rode's new on-camera, super lightweight, very directional microphone. It's only $100. And to put it to the proper test today, we are going to compare it against the two microphones that I'm currently using, the Rode VideoMic NTG and the one you're hearing me on right now, the very famous Rode VideoMic Pro Plus. So we're going to have a $100 microphone, about $225 microphone, and then a $275 microphone, see how the three compare against each other. First, we'll go back to the studio, we will talk features, and then we'll go back out, we'll shoot some kind of real life scenarios and hear how these three mics sound. Because honestly, if this $100 mic sounds even comparable to these other two, there's a lot of reasons why this might become my new on-camera microphone. And maybe it should be yours also. Let's go back to the studio, I will explain.
Okay, let's talk features of these three microphones. And again, we will start with the Go 2. The number one feature of this microphone is the fact that it is small and lightweight. This whole thing is 89 grams of a microphone, or at least the microphone bit is. I'm not sure what it weighs with all of this on there, but the microphone bit itself, 89 grams. Hang on, where's my scale at? Switch it over to grams. The whole thing with the mount and the cable is 100 grams, which compared to the VideoMic NTG, we pop that bad boy on there, that is 169 grams. And then the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus, which I gotta believe it's the most. Oh, it's not, 162 grams. I thought this was gonna weigh the most because it's the biggest, you know, just in poofiness, I guess. But this has a little more oomph at 169 grams. And again, this guy here, 100 grams for the shock mount, the mic, and the windscreen, and the cable, which is significantly better than these two. And speaking of better than these two, the VideoMic Go 2, this does not require a battery. It is powered from the 3.5mm jack. So this thing, you just have it in your bag. You can have it in there for a year. You don't have to worry about it ever. Pull it out, throw it on there, plug it in, and it's ready to rock. Whereas the VideoMic NTG, this thing has a built-in rechargeable battery. If you pull this mic out and you forgot to charge it, or it died somehow in your bag, it's just dead. You can't swap battery. You gotta charge it up to get juice again. And that has happened to me. And then the Rode VideoMic Pro Plus. Now this is a feature that I do really appreciate. The old one required like a 9-volt battery. And with this one, they switched to rechargeable batteries. Now this rechargeable battery in here will give you 100+ hours of record time. That's plenty for me. I have never killed this battery, but when you do kill it, you have to charge it back up via a micro USB port, which seems they should update that. So small and lightweight, does not require a battery. And then the third thing that is such a good feature of this microphone is, again, it is $100. We are talking $100 for this microphone, $225 for this guy, and $275 for this. You can almost buy 3 of these microphones for one of these guys. You can't even buy a tank of gas for $100 these days, and yet you can buy a very good on-camera microphone. Good job, Rode. Next up on features on this guy is of course the shock mount. It uses a very similar shock mount to the NTG. I think maybe even the exact same. Do those look like, I think those are the same size. I think they use the exact same mount from the NTG for the Go. The nice thing with this mount is that it is adjustable by unscrewing this bad boy, and you can actually move the microphone forward or backwards on the mount. So if this is sitting on your camera and maybe you're shooting with your phone or GoPro, something like that, and it's too far out, like sticking out, and you can see it in the shot, you just unscrew that top part, you slide the whole microphone back, and then you screw that bad boy back in, and boom, you have reduced how much of the mic sticks into your shot. And the next very notable feature on here is there's no controls on this microphone. This is purely plug in your camera and let it ride. So you'll adjust the volume or anything like that actually in your camera settings, not on the microphone, which is obviously totally different from these two. With the NTG, you have a adjustable stepless gain knob on the back, so you can adjust the volume right on the microphone right there. And then on this guy, you have a multi-level gain. You've got a plus 20 dB and a minus 10 dB control, so you can just boost it 10 dBs all of a sudden if things are really, really quiet and you're really trying to pick up more gain, or you can reduce it 10 dB, which is kind of the main way that I use this mic. And that's because if I go to something like one of Morgan's shows, my wife's a country singer, she performs in these venues where it is shockingly loud. So even if I have my camera all the way turned down to 1 and I plug in my microphone, I'm still peaking. So I can throw on that negative 10 dB and it brings down my volume so I'm not peaking out when they start singing and it just all sounds like garbage. Another big feature that these have on it is both of these have the option to turn on a safety channel. So my right channel and my left channel, instead of being at the same volume, I can have my right channel at a normal volume and my left channel be at pad. It's a safety channel. I think it's 8 or 10 dB lower. Onto how this guy plugs in. The Rode VideoMic Go 2 has a TRS cable on it, which is where it's got 2 black little rings on there. That means this can only plug into microphone outlets. So on your camera, maybe on your computer, things like that. This cannot plug into a mobile phone 3.5mm jack. For that, you need something like what this guy has, which is a TRRS. And that's where the tip has 3 black rings on it. Now, the cool thing about the NTG is this is an auto sensing tip, so you can plug this into a TRS like my camera and it'll record perfectly. And then I could take this and I could plug it into the 3.5mm on a mobile phone. It will recognize that that is a TRRS and it works perfectly. And I have to say, I'm a little shocked that the Go 2 didn't come with that same sort of thing. How the Go 2 connects to your phone is through this guy. You get one of these cables from Rode. This plugs into the USB-C port right there on the side, and through that USB-C port, I can now plug this guy, the lightning adapter, into my phone. So that's how, if you're gonna have this in like a mobile setup, you run this microphone straight into your phone via lightning adapter, as opposed to if you got this guy, you can still run that in through the 3.5mm jack to lightning adapter, and then it works. So maybe this is better. Also, they do sell shorter versions of this, so if you're just mounting this on like a little cage that your phone is on, they have a shorter version of this cable that is USB-C to lightning that makes this work. And then over on the VideoMic Pro Plus, this guy is also just a TRS, so this cannot plug into your mobile phone at all. This doesn't have any way of plugging into a mobile phone, as far as I know. So this mic, not mobile friendly. Both of these mics, mobile friendly. And then lastly, physically, they all come with foam windscreens. So this guy, just a foam windscreen, and these work, reasonably well. If you are gonna go out into any sort of windy situation though, I do recommend that you pick up the Dead Cat for it. And now, boom, you are much better prepared for situations with wind. We will find out very soon. And they make dead cats for all 3 of these. Boom, all 3 microphones all dead catted up, ready to go in windy situations. But before we do that, we are gonna test them in here. Before we go out and kind of hear what they're like in the real world, let's hear what they sound like in much more of a controlled environment, just like this. Let's start off first with the Go 2. Oh, you know what's something I didn't even mention? The Go 2 can use this cable here to plug into your computer. And while this guy is plugged into either your phone or your computer, you can then use the Rode Central app, and then the Rode Central app gives you all the controls that you would have on this microphone or this microphone. So if you're using this maybe as doing like a live stream or something like that, you have it mounted here, you're gonna speak directly into it, you're gonna use it through your computer, you can be running the Rode Central app, and then you get access to all those super nifty little functionalities, but it does not follow the microphone. And once you unplug it from the computer and you put it back on your camera, it doesn't have the high pass on there, it doesn't have a safety channel, it's not doing any of the stuff that the Rode Central app can do while this is on your camera. Okay, with that said, let's test out this microphone first. And in order to test out these microphones, let's talk about the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. If you guys don't already know about Skillshare, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of courses for people that love to learn, which is totally me. And it's also for people that like to take their creativity and explore other options. I love photography, of course, so I love watching photography courses on Skillshare. I also like video courses. I also like drawing courses, but I'm at very different levels on those 3 things. Very, very pro at photography,
mid-ish to upper at video, and then total beginner at drawing. But I love all three, and Skillshare has a course for me at all different levels for all those things. So whether you want to take your photography or videography to the next level, whether you're a total pro or an absolute beginner, Skillshare has a course for you. And the best part of all this is that the first 1,000 people to use the link below and my code DAVIDMANNING, you get a totally free 1-month trial to Skillshare. You can go in there and you can take as many courses as you want. You can learn a lot in a month. Click that link down below, shoot over to Skillshare, and get signed up for your 1-month free trial. You're gonna be very happy that you did.
Got that back on there. Okay, that is what these three microphones sound like in a very controlled environment in this studio. Let's take them out into the real world. We'll hear them in a couple of different scenarios, and then we'll come back here and I will wrap up my thoughts after hearing all of this on the VideoMic Go 2 and whether it's gonna replace either of these two microphones in my setup here.
In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground is where I spent most of my days, hanging out, maxing, relaxing all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of school. A couple of guys, they were up to no good, started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight, my mom got scared, said you're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air. I just found like the perfect spot to test the windy situation. There's kite surfers getting their kites ready here. Plenty windy at this spot. Ugh. In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground is where I spent most of my days, hanging out, maxing, relaxing all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of school. A couple of guys, they were up to no good, started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight, my mom got scared, said you're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air. In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground is where I spend most of my days, chilling out, maxing, relaxing all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of the school. A couple of guys, they were up to no good, started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight, my mom got scared. She said you're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air. In West Philadelphia, born and raised, on the playground is where I spent most of my days, chilling out, maxing, relaxing all cool, shooting some b-ball outside of school, when a couple of guys, they were up to no good, started making trouble in my neighborhood. I got in one little fight, my mom got scared, said you're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
I am a little surprised. This mic did a whole lot better than I thought I was gonna do. A couple of notes real quick. First off, I apologize for not putting these little foam windscreens on when I was holding it in here. That's why you were hearing those plosives like the that's kind of what these are for. You put that on there and it reduces plosives. Secondly though, this mic really held its own versus the NTG and the VideoMic Pro Plus. I was sort of kidding when I said that this mic might replace one of these two mics in how I'm using microphones, but I do see a place to use this microphone, and it's kind of to replace this guy, the $275 VideoMic Pro Plus. This is my current on-camera microphone. Right now, I'm using the NTG kind of more like in this setup. Right now, I'm using the original VideoMic Pro because I need to show you all three of these mics at once. So I'm using a very old microphone right now, but this microphone is normally like this, no windscreen, and it's normally mounted right up here just out of frame. And the reason I do that is because, again, this one has a rechargeable battery, so I don't want to be out and about somewhere and get caught with this thing not being charged up. If I'm here to go to record and this thing's not charged up, I can plug it in, I can wait 20 minutes, it's no big deal. But if I'm out and about, I want something like this where I have a rechargeable battery and I have a spare in my bag. Another reason I don't use this microphone while I'm out and about is one of its features, which is a stepless gain knob. It is really nice, I do like it a lot, but I have had this thing as like my on-camera microphone, and I've bumped that on accident, like putting my camera down on something, and it hits it and it changes the volume, and I didn't want to change the volume. But in our testing, the difference between the Go 2 and the VideoMic Pro Plus, I do think that the VideoMic Pro Plus sounds a bit warmer. I think that it picks up a little bit more of the lows. This sounds a little thinner, a little higher pitch, kind of more in the high frequency ranges. But overall, it sounds really good. And if I EQ it, I can make it sound almost exactly like this guy. And again, there's no batteries involved with this microphone. There's no on button, so I don't have to worry whether it automatically came on or turned off. It's just plug it in and go. And that's a major benefit. Now, there will still be times where I will need this microphone. Again, if I'm going to one of Morgan's shows or something like that, even if I know that I'm gonna need the safety channel. So if I'm gonna be in an environment where things might peak, I would definitely want something like this because, again, I can throw that safety channel on, I can do the +20, the -10, I can add the high pass filter on there, which I don't really use on here, I just do that in post. But there will be times where I will need this microphone, but I think I'm gonna start using this microphone more often. Because as for the cons of the Go 2, my only cons of this microphone would be features that you could get by spending more. So they're not really cons as much as they're just features that you can buy, they just cost more. But I wanna know what you guys have to say. Do you think that not requiring a battery, being smaller and lightweight, does that outweigh having all those extra controls on the microphone? Or are you somebody that needs all the extra buttons and gears and you're willing to deal with the extra weight and the extra price? Let me know down in the comments below, and I'll see you soon. Triple mic lens tap. Today we are looking, helicopter. Wow, that helicopter's not gonna help the audio. Oh, it's not a helicopter. It's one of those planes where it's got propellers, but they do this. Odyssey? Osprey. That's what it is. Oh, it's so cool looking.